and effects on prevention and controls under unit 9. Now we are in the unit 9, water pollution. Water pollution is the contamination of water bodies such as rivers. Yes, such are the rivers, oceans, and the groundwater by harmful substances. It makes the water unsafe for drinking, domestic use, and that aquatic life. This is nothing but the definition of the water pollution. Once again, I repeat that one. Water pollution is the contamination of water bodies such as the rivers, lakes, oceans, and the groundwater by harmful substances. It makes water unsafe for any use, is nothing but it may be a drinking or domestic purpose, and it is not useful for that any aquatic life to survive in that particular water body. That pollution is known as that water pollution. Okay, causes of water pollution: discharge of industrial waste and chemicals, sewage and wastewater, sewage and waste water from the homes, and agricultural runoff, fertilizers and pesticides, dumping of plastic, dumping of a plastic and the solid waste and the oil spills. These are the main causes of the water pollution. Then next one is the effects of human life. How that particular water pollution can affect the human life is nothing but the waterborne diseases, for example cholera, thyroid, diarrhea. So many waterborne diseases are there. All these waterborne diseases are directly attacked on the human health while we are going to drinking the unsafe and polluted water. Okay, then next one is the skin and stomach problems. Then next one is the lack of safe drinking water. Lack of safe drinking water is the major problem in the present situations. The next one is the how the particular water pollution can affect the environment. Here I mentioned some effects on the environment by water pollution are nothing but the death of a fish and the aquatic animals. What are the fishes? Different types of fishes are there. Different families are there in that particular fishes family. The breeding of the fish family will be decreased, and that what are the useful aquatic animals. It may be a blue green algae, it may be anything. Okay, each and every organism is a very so each and every organism is a very useful, and it plays a very crucial role in that ecosystem, right? So that's why the in the aquatic life cycles, the fish is also a dominant species. It is a primary producer. When the death of the fishes will be takes place, then the species of the particular fish can be endangered. So that's why that is the most important side effect of the water pollution. The next one is the reduction in oxygen levels in water. Then next one is the damage of aquatic ecosystem. How then we control that particular water pollution? Prevention and control of the water pollution means treat the sewage and industrial waste before discharge. Before discharge of the industrial waste, it may be any factory, it may be a plastic factory, it may be a paper factory, it may be steel factory, it may be anything, it may be cloth factory. So many factories are there, right? Before the discharge of the waste, what are the waste we get from the products, so before that we are going to conduct some primary treatment and secondary treatments in that, and then only you can release into our environment. It may be a primary step to save our environment. Then next one is the reduce the uses of chemicals and pesticides. Try to reduce the use of chemicals and pesticides in the agriculture. Try to switch on that what are the old procedures which were followed by our forefathers and fathers in in the farming. So that is the best one. That is nothing but the cow dung, neem, and so many things are there. So we have to practice the natural and that unpolluted agricultural practice. That is also a very helpful to control the water pollution. Then next one is the avoid dumping waste into a water bodies. So this is the most important thing. It just you have to avoid the dumping of the waste water bodies, waste into the water body. It may be any waste, it may be a plastic waste, it may be anything. Just avoid. We have to dispose that particular waste in a proper manner. So that is the most important one. Then next one is the recycle and reduce the plastic use. Recycle and reduce the plastic use. Conserve the and protect the water resources. Conserve and protect the water resources is nothing but the conservation of conservation of our water bodies from pollution. Then coming to the next one, noise pollution is the presence of excessive or the unwanted sound in the environment that can be harmful to the human and animals. Already I discussed in that last class. Up to some decibels only, the human mind and the human ears can accept the sound and it can enjoy. How much sound it can be enjoyed, that is nothing but a nonsense. When the particular decibels, the particular limit, can be increased, it can nothing but the noise pollution. Here what are the causes of noise pollution means vehicle traffic and honking, industrial machinery, construction activities, loudspeakers and loud music, and the firing of the crackers. Okay, what are the effects on humans? What are the effects of this noise pollution? Sorry, on human health: hearing loss, stress and irritation, a sleep disturbance, high blood pressure, and the lack of concentration. These are the side effects of the noise pollution on the human health. Then next one is the effect on environment. How that particular noise pollution can affect the environment is nothing but it disturb the wildlife and the birds. It can disturb the wildlife and the birds. It can affect the animal communication and behavior. The unusual communications, unusual behaviors we can observe where that particular noise pollution will be increased. The growth of the plants also decreased. Then next one is how can we control? What are the prevention and control measures for that? Control measures for that noise pollution is nothing but avoid unnecessary honking, use silencers and maintain the vehicles, limit use of loudspeakers, follow a noise control rules, plant trees to reduce the noise. So plantations are the is nothing but the most important for the environment. It can reduce the water pollution, it can reduce the soil pollution, it can reduce the air pollution, it can also reduce the noise pollution. That's why plant the more trees as we possible as. Then coming to the unit 10 is nothing but the soil pollution. Okay. Then coming to that next one, that is soil pollution. Wait a minute. Just I want to discuss here one important point. Yes. Soil pollution. What are the concepts we covered under the soil pollutions are nothing but then what are the objects of the soil pollutions? What is the introduction about the soil pollutions? And the solid waste and agricultural waste, industrial waste, and control measures and disposal methods. And these are the main topics we covered under the soil pollution. First one, coming to the objectives, this is the general notes. Just listen my words. This is general. This is general about the soil pollution. This is not the A clear explanation about just this is the general and common explanation about the soil pollutions. Just observe and hear my words carefully and listen carefully. Objectives. What are the objectives of the soil pollution is nothing but after going through explain the reasons for the soil pollutions. In that first object is what I am going to focus on this particular soil pollution means explain what are the reasons for the soil pollutions. Then next one, the list out the important of soil pollutants, and the next one explain the effect of soil pollution over groundwater. Describe the effects of various pollutants in the soil on the soil. These are the four main objectives we covered in the soil pollution. Okay, coming to that, so introduction of the soil pollutions. A soil are formed over a long period of time. Yes, soil is formed a long period of time. Soil constitute a biological shell around it, a land, a swallow the waters. It affects the growth of the organisms, especially plants. Yes, the soil contribute the a biological shell. The soil is also act as a biological shell around a land and swallow the waters, and it can swallow, it can hold the water and minerals. It can affect the growth of the organisms, especially plants. Not only plants, it can affect the growth of the all the living organisms. Without soil there is no water, there is no food. That's why the total living organisms are indirectly or directly depend on the soil. So for each and every organism, growth will be defected and affect on the growth of the organisms. And what are the organisms, especially plants, can grow on the soil, and the interns and the influenced by the activities of the latter. It should be a regarded in the a living community of a microorganisms. The soil is the it is a living community of so many microorganisms, algae, fungi, protozoa and metazoa. Okay. Soil contains many inorganic and organic substances. Yes, soil contains a number of chemicals. It may be some are the inorganic, some are the organic substances which are the products of withering of decaying of organic matter. How that particular chemicals can enter into the soil is nothing but that is the chemicals that are products of a withering, that is the products of a withering of decay of the organic matter, or decaying of the dead and organic matter, plant dead bodies and anything. Microbes oxidize these substances in organic oxides, but some organic compounds remain incompletely oxidized and add the pollutions. Some 90% of that soil can digest the what of the decaying particles. It may be any body. Okay, only the 10% of the remaining compounds, organic compounds, remain incompletely digested in that soil body, that can create and add the pollution. That is nothing but the soil pollution. Okay, then the industrialization, then the urbanization and the and other human activities have the a tremendous impact on the soil. Say yes or no. Yes, from my side it is a yes. Industrialization, urbanization and other human activities have a tremendous effect on the soil. Yes, and on the other and on this biosphere, unplanted destructions of a forest and the latter has brought a serious changes as land and water. It caused the considerable soil erosion. Yes, when that unnoticed unnoticed and unplanned destruction of the forest will be takes place in present situations, then it can seriously changes the land and water. What is the naturality of the land, what is the naturality of the environment, what is the nature, the naturality of that particular water can be changed to cut down the trees. It caused a considerable soil erosion. It directly affect the soil erosions. The modern agricultural practices, that is the application of chemical fertilizers, spray of a pesticides, fungicides, use of the herbicides, pesticides, and causing a lot of damage of natural soils. Yes. For each and every crop, different types of pesticides are available in the market in present situations. It may be a fungicides, it may be a pesticide, it may be a herbicides, or it may be to control the weeds which are naturally grow in that particular agricultural field. When what will happen when we are going to spray, when we are going to spray this particular harsh chemicals on the soil, it can damage the naturality of the soil. The heavy dose of the inorganic fertilizers are creating the excessive acidity or alkalinity in the soil. So the heavy doses of the fertilizers and the fungicides to control the what are the pests and what are the something, it may be a small creatures, it may be a small things, small creatures which will can spread on that particular fields to destroy the yield of the agriculture. To control that one, the farmers can nowadays adapted the chemical fertilizers and the fungicides based on the type of the disease it is. Then it can causes the excessive damage, the excessive quantity we are going to use. Then what will happen, the soil can add the more acidity and the more alkalinity. So then what will happen, the discriminated use of the pesticides and fungicides are adversely affect the soil by affecting the activity of the soil microbes. The particular chemicals can show the impact on the activity of the natural microbes which are present in the soil, and also a flora and a fauna. Many of once a fertile soil have already been converted converted of a agriculturally unfit alkaline and saline lands and marshlands. More than 25 million hectares of the such barren lands are now distributed throughout the world. So when we are going to practice for a n number of years, by using practice the agriculture by using the fungicides and pesticides, then what will happen, the salinity and the alkalinity of the soil will be increased, the fertility capacity of the soil will be decreased. In the very soon the total land will become a barren land. Is barren land is nothing but the a unfertile land. Till the date now, more than 25 million hectares of the land will be unused for nothing, unused for that nothing. That particular 25 acres of a land that don't have the any capacity to produce anything, these are the dead soil. That is the dead soil throughout the world. It is a 25 million hectares will be there. The use of the organic manure helps in preventing the quality of the soil and their humus content. That's why I said better to switch on the what are the old agricultural methods. When we are going to add that what is that cow dung and use that helps in that organic manure. Organic manure is nothing but that a cow dung and the rice husk. All these things are can increase the, it may be increase the fertility of the soil, it can decrease the salinity and alkalinity of the soil. The soil pollution is mainly caused by solid waste and the chemicals. The major pollutants can be classified as the solid waste and the agricultural waste and the industrial waste. So the major pollutants are can divided into three types. In that, first one is the solid waste, and second one is the agricultural waste, and third one is the industrial waste. Okay. Then coming to the solid waste, the major problem in the large cities in the disposal of solid waste, including a farm and that animal manure. The major problem in the large cities are disposal of the solid waste. How the particular solid waste can be disposed? For that, some important steps will be there. You have to follow that one, including farms and animal manure also. The crop residues, a fly ash, garbage, paper, cardboard, plastic, rubber, cloth, leather, construction, uh, brick, sand, metal, glass. So different types of the dead animals discarded, the old refrigerated washing machines, autos, and a huge quantity of these unwanted material bring out the serious disposal problems. So what are the list I read now? That is nothing but these by after the usage, after the completion of the usage, after the outdate of the particular things, the disposal problems are mainly faced on this above mentioned materials. Is nothing but the refrigerator, washing machines, a high quality, huge quality of this So what is that? Cardboard, papers, plastic bottles, all the things which are they are facing a lot of problem to disposal in this particular solid waste. The major amount of solid rubbish comes from the household in the form of the domestic waste. Example: groceries, food scrap, vegetables, remains, ash, wood, metal, plastic, ceramics, glass, etc. These are from heaps the municipal refuse, such as the places are become a dwelling of the rats, flies, and bacteria, mosquitoes, and a large number of microorganisms having the potential of causing the infectious diseases. So in the solid waste, up to 80% of the waste will come from the household purpose only. It may be a groceries, maybe a food crops, it may be a vegetables, wood, material, plastic, ceramic, all the things which are including under that domestic wastes. Domestic wastes, the municipal people can refuse to take all those things, then what will happen? The microorganisms will increase and causing the infectious diseases in and around us. Okay, then coming to the next one, agricultural waste. Then coming to the next one is that agricultural waste. Modern agriculture is the main responsible for the polluting soil. Modern agriculture, yes, I said that right. The modern agriculture is the mainly responsible for the polluting soil due to the non-judiciary use of a chemical fertilizers, pesticides, and fungicides, herbicides, and weedicides. Okay, all these are the chemicals which are used by our farmers according their need. Okay, according to their need, most of these will remain in the soil. Okay, up to 10 to 20% will act on the crops, and it can reduce the, it may be a fungi, it may be herbicide, it may be waste, and the what are the remaining 80% will restore in the soil for the long period of time without undergoing the degradation. So without any degradation, the particular chemicals remain, stay in the soil up to so many years, then it can increase the salinity and alkalinity of the particular soil health. These substances kill the living organisms present in the soil. With the continuous use, the soil microorganisms lose their capacity of the nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixation is the most important one to catch the nitrogen and fix it. It can improve the soil health, and it also very important for the good growing crops. Thus, they affect the nitrogen economy, balance the soil. Okay, this is about the agricultural waste. I think up to here everything is clear. In this chapter already we discussed about that what are the objectives under this chapter, and we discussed about the introduction, and also we discussed about that in the introduction the major pollutants can be classified into three types. First one is the solid waste, second one is the agricultural waste, and third one is the industrial waste. The first one, 10.3, the solid waste will be completed, and that agricultural waste is also completed. Then coming to the next one is nothing but that industrial waste, is nothing but the industrial waste. The industries like pulp and paper mills, the pulp and paper mills, oil refineries, and heating the plants, iron steel plants, the plastic and the rubber producing complexes, pharmaceuticals industries are the main source of the soil pollutions. Okay, shall I repeat once again? Industries like the pulp and the paper mills, the oil refineries, and the heating of the plants, iron, steel plants, and the plastic and rubber producing complexes, pharmaceutical industries are the main source of the soil pollution. Yes. Okay. The pulp and paper mills let out the effluents which contain a lot of lignin, and this interferes interferes with the life of a terrestrial ecosystem. Lignin is the one compound, it directly enter into our terrestrial ecosystem. Pharmaceutical industries, so n number of pharmaceutical industries are there in the present situations. So many number of diseases, different types of diseases, they need the different types of drugs, different dosages. different needs. That's why the pharmaceutical number, industrial number in the present situations are very high. Industries, pharmaceutical industries release a mixture of chemical substances. Okay, in this chapter we discussed that the soil pollution, already we discussed about the objectives is nothing but explain the reasons for the soil pollution, list out the important soil pollutants, explain the effects of the soil pollutions, and describe the effects of the various pollutants on the soil. Coming to the introduction is also completed. Then in that solid waste is completed, the agricultural waste also is completed. Then coming to the next one, in the industrial waste, we are in the middle. Okay, smelting and that mining of the complexes pollute the soils with the heavy metals like cadmium, zinc, lead, and the copper, arsenic, and the nickel. Copper, arsenic, and that nickel. This phytotoxic even in the small concentration. These are the mm, very harmful and very dangerous chemicals. It may be in that a small quantities, but it can create a large nuisance. The plants grow on that such soils are unsafe for the human and animal consumptions. Many of the chemicals are released into the air. Example, radioactive minerals, sulfur, lead, return to the earth and the polluted the soil. The lead also returned to the earth and polluted to the soil. These are about the industrial waste which are can pollute, it can be polluted the soil, right? What are the control measures and the disposal methods? What are the control measures and the disposal method to control the soil pollutions? The solid waste can be disposed of by a crude tipping or the open dumping, which is the common most of the Indian cities. In the Indian cities, the open dumping. Open dumping is the most common. Okay, the open dumping is the most common in the Indian cities. More satisfactorily control the tipping of the sanitary landfill is adopted in the Delhi for solid waste disposal. In sanitary landfill, the layer of about 2 meters refused to cover by at least 23 centimeter of the earth, ash and the other inert materials up to the level of the hole chosen. The surface can be used for housing the sports field and that waste before filling could be okay controlled. Mm. So for the solid waste can be disposed by in the Indian cities. There we are going to adopted that one. We are dumping. We are using the open dumping. Okay, open dump instead of the open dumping. Just we have to dig the a large pit, and we have to dispose the waste in that one layer of the disposal parts. What are the waste, what are the solid waste, what we discussed in that latter, what we discussed in the earlier. Then the cover with the soil, then again with the waste, and then again cover with the soil and ash, and that material leave for the chosen, so up to the hole. Okay, the surface can be used for housing or sports field, the waste before filling. Here we are going to use that use that there was a waste to filling. There could be a pulveted by the machines, and the volume could be reduced in the life of the tips. Okay, it can extracted the some of the refuse to quick the biodegradable. This is the method to biodegraded very quickly without any without any causing the any air pollution, sorry, any soil pollution. Okay, the sanitary landfill is regarded as a better remedy for other large objects, because it causes the expensive biodegradation of such trash without causing much pollution. So when we are going to adopt this one, it can reduce the pollution. It can also reduce the spreading of the diseases. It also desirable to fill low laying watery areas and the ditches by that stuff, and that landfills reclaimed may be useful for raising the gardens, parks, playgrounds, and even the apartment and complexes. Okay, even apartment and the complexes can be also be used adapted to that one to control that soil pollutions. The domestic waste have to be managed regularly by municipalities for proper disposal and that economic recycling. Yes. Coming to the next point, in the control measures and the disposal methods, the animals refuse to agricultural waste may be used as a manure. Okay, may be used as a manure. Yes. They can also be used for the biogas production. Yes, by using the cow dung, the biogas will be produced. The sludge from the biogas plants may serve as a soil builder and that fertilizer. The garbage dumps and the sanitary landfills can use it for generating the electricity and the non-conventional energy sources. Okay. So by using these landfills and all, we can produce the electricity and that non-conventional energy resources also. The municipal solid waste can be disposed by the incinerators. It uses up to 300 tons of a garbage per day for generating the 3.75 megawatts of the powers. Okay, by using the incinerators daily, uh, with the help of the 300 tons of the garbage, we can produce up to 3.75 megawatts of a power. Okay, making biogas from the garbage will also decrease. Making the biogas from that garbage also decrease the soil pollutions to an appreciable constant. In USA, the scientists are able to convert the organic waste such as the rubbish, wood rags, and the cow manure into a clean, high energy oil or a gas. Most of these wastes can be recycled and put to use for a daily benefits. Okay, these are the most important and happiest thing. Use of a chemical fertilizers may be reduced, the supplemented with the biofertilizers. Okay, which are the less expensive and the harmless. The what are the biofertilizers which are the less expensive, and these are the harmless products. The substances like the pesticides, fungicides, etc. have been sprayed continuously as the highly toxic. The use of a excess continuously, we are going to use the excess amount of the fungicides and pesticides, then what will happen? The soil health will be decreased. The industrial waste contain a mixture of a chemical substances, both inorganic and the organic, and they should not be a dumped, should not be a dumped on the soil, either within a compound let into the open channel. By using that open channel, we can degrade it very easily. Firstly, they have to be diluted after subjecting them. The primarily treated, they should be uh, diverted into a aquatic ecosystem. When we are going to use that particular primary and secondary treatment for the industrial waste, then they can directly enter into the aquatic ecosystem. There is no problem. Okay. The protection and conservation of natural soils is a highly desirable in the adopting countries. So the developing countries are chosen. These are the highly desirable and most important present situation to conserve the nature. It may be a soil, it may be air, it may be a water. Anything to conserve the nature is the main desirable thing in the present situation and the developing countries. In this context, the farmers have to be educated well in that handling the various substances in the agriculture. This is the most important thing. Okay, then coming to the summary of the soil pollution, unit 10. The soil is a natural environment, and different types of soils are used for the cultivation of the various crops, for the growth of the development of the biodiversity. For the growth and development of the biodiversity, different types of the soils are there. But for example, red soil is there, black soil is there, gray soil is there. So for each and every crop, per particular type of the soil will be suitable. Okay. Nowadays, the modern agricultural practices, industrialization, and urbanizations are having a lot of impact on the soil and affecting the life of the terrestrial ecosystem. Yes, what are the terrestrial ecosystem is nothing but that are humans. It can affect it. These are mainly responsible for causing the soil pollutions. What are the things we discussed in this class? Are these are the main responsible for the soil pollution. The soil pollution in turns lead to the groundwater pollution. The soil pollution can lead to the groundwater pollutions. The major pollutants like the solid waste. The major pollutant, it may be a solid waste, agricultural waste, and the industrial waste have to be disposed of in a scientific manner. With the help of the scientific technology, scientific manner, we can dispose the all the three types of waste very carefully to reduce the pollution, to maintain a better healthy terrestrial ecosystem in urban areas and industrial complexes. The farmer should be trained scientifically using various substances in modern agriculture, or using a modern agriculture. It is a highly desirable for everybody. So this is the most, and it is a highly desirable everybody to protect and conserve the natural soil and for maintaining the ecological balance in the ecosphere. This is the total summary of the soil pollution. Can I repeat this one once again? Okay. The soil is a natural environment, and different types of the soil are used for the cultivation of the various crops and for the growth of the development of the biodiversity. Okay, nowadays the modern agricultural practices, the industrialization and the urbanization are having a lot of impact on the soil and affecting the life of the terrestrial ecosystem. These are mainly responsible for causing the soil pollution. The soil pollution in turns lead to the groundwater pollution. The major pollutants like a solid waste, agricultural waste, industrial waste have been disposed of a scientific manner to maintain the better health and the on the terrestrial ecosystem in urban areas and the industrial complexes. The farmer should be maintained are trained scientifically to use the various substances in the modern agriculture. It is a highly desirable for everyone to protect and conserve the natural soil and the maintaining of the ecological balance in the ecosphere. Okay, then coming to the next one is nothing but coming to the next unit 11, applied ecology. Coming to the next one is nothing but a applied ecology. Applied ecology. Okay. In this applied ecology, we are going to discuss about that what is the applied ecology, what are the objectives of the applied ecology, what are the objectives of that applied ecology. After going through this unit, we will be you until you will be able to define that, describe the renewable and non-renewable resources. Okay, in this chapter we are going to discuss with the what are the definitions and what are and also clearly described that the renewable and non-renewable resources, mm, and also describe the differences between the rabi and kharif crops in that agriculture, and the list of different crops grown in our country, and describe the different methods of the soil management, and describe the different pastures and the grazing of lands, and describe the maintenance of the forest ecosystem and developing wastelands, and so not a wasteland, that is a okay, wastelands. List out the different types of the wildlife in our country, and describe the different methods of conservation of water, and list out the describe the different resources of energy and their recycling. These are the these are the these are the main nine objectives which we are going to describe in that applied ecology. Okay, then coming to the introduction of that applied ecology. All over the world, so all over the world, environmental degradation is caused by the excessive exploitation of a natural resources. Okay, the knowledge gained from the previous units. Previous units on the principles and the application of the plant ecology would will enable to make a best use of resources to make them available continuously and the future generations. So these are all already we have some knowledge. We gained some knowledge in the previous chapters about that what are the environmental pollutions and all. That particular knowledge is very useful in this particular chapter to understand very easily. The excessive unplanted exploitation of the forest resources and the energy resources during the last 5 decades contributed to the much present the environmental degradation. Yes, for the present day degradation of the environment will be would be had been started in the 5 decades ago to the unplanned and the unexplained and unwanted cutting of the plants. Okay, unwanted cutting of the forest is the main reason for the present day environmental situations and the degradation. Okay, in the developing countries like India is always a developing country like India. The environmental problems are aggravated due to the poverty and growing populations and unhygienic slums. Okay, these are the main four reasons are in India at that to increasing the environmental pollution. First one is the poverty, and the next one is the growing populations and the unhealthy hygienic slums. Okay, not only in India, some other countries also this is the same problem. These are the reasons. Okay, the environmental deterioration contributes to the pollutions. The multiplying the population also contribute to the environmental pollutions. Yes, So when the population will be increases, the needs will be increases. Then what will happen? The industries will be increases. Then automatically the pollution will be increases. The rapid industrialization and the modern agricultural practices employing excessive chemical fertilizers and the pesticides are also a responsible for the environmental degradation. Yes, when the population can be increases, we need to support and we need to supply the food and shelter, and that what are the economic status, and for the survival they are going to earn the money in that many ways is nothing but it may be so many industries are there. Then for their needs they are going the industries. Okay, environmental degradation as such as the has to e- equi man has to equal himself with a knowledge on the ecology would help them to ensure the a continuous maximum supply of natural resources in the agricultural productions. So each and every human being have the some sense on that particular environment, and that environment what he surround us. Then also have the some knowledge on that what is that agricultural practices previously our fathers will be followed. Applied ecology through the a light through a light on management forest pastures, the wastelands pollutions, and the renewable source of energy such as the applied ecology deals all aspects concerning with the welfare of the human society. So in this applied geology, we are applied ecology, we are going to discuss what are the things which are in and around surrounded by that environment. Okay, coming to the next point, next subheading, resources and their conservation and the management. What are the resources? How we conserve that resources? How we manage the resources? We'll be discussing now. Okay, the two kinds of resources can be easily recognized. Okay, what are that is nothing but renewable resources like plants and that animals, and the next one is the water all through has a no life cycle, can be recycled and such as a considered as a renewable resources. Okay, water is also a renewable resource. The resources which cannot be regenerated or recycled one exhausted are classified as a non-renewable resources. Already we all of you know the definitions of the renewable and non-renewable resources, right? Renewable resources means we can produced again and again, that is nothing but the renewable resources. Non-renewable resources mean once that particular product will be exhausted it cannot be produced again, that is nothing but the non-renewable resources. Okay, these include the fossil fuel, petrol, coal, and the mineral deposits. The soil formation takes 1,000 years, 1,000 of years, hence it can be considered as a non-renewable. Okay, the formation of the petrol and the diesel will can be produced again and again, but it will take the 1,000 of years to produce the petrol and the diesel and formation of all the things. So that's why the coal is also a non-renewable, considered as a non-renewable resources. Okay, there are many endangered plants and animal species. Okay, all through the plants and animals are considered as the renewable resources. Some species become extinct and some are on the way due to the mismanagement. Okay, due to the some mismanagement, some species are already extinct. Some species are on the way to extinct, and some are the restored. Okay, the next one is the natural resources can be inexhaustible. Example, solar energy, atomic energy, wind power are the inexhaustible resources. Coming to the exhaustible resources are nothing but coal, petrol, and etc. Therefore conservation and the management of the um, soil, water, forest, aquatic ecosystem, and other types of ecosystems are important for the future need of the humanity. Yes, for the future need of the humanity, we have to conserve the soil, water, forest, and aquatic life also. Then coming to that first one is that agriculture. Agriculture is one of the best example of the applied ecology. So agriculture is the one of the best example of the applied ecology, because the farmers by the continuous experimentation for the many years have identified a suitable type of a soil, season, and the quality and the frequency of the irrigation, the amount and the mode of the fertilization for obtaining the best yield on the given crop. So by the experience of the farmers, they know which soil is suitable for that which crop. Okay, what which season is suitable for that particular type of a crop, what is the quality, okay, this much of quality, how much of quality, and what type of a seeds and what type of a um, varieties will be suitable for that particular environment, particular soil, and particular season, and what type of the fertilizers and the fungicides we are going to use in that particular crop, when that particular, what type of the diseases will attack on that. They have all the knowledge on that particular yield they given in the crop. Okay, in India the farmers have been growing wheat, barley, gram, a mustard, and the mustard and a rape as a rabi. So these are the rabi crops. What are the rabi crop is nothing but a wheat, barley, gram, and mustard arrive as a rabi crops for that last 100 years. So for the last 100 years, these are the some crops under in the rabi season. On the other hand, maize, tobacco, sesame, and that cotton have been cultivated as a kharif crops. Okay, already we are all are aware about the what is the rabi crops and what is the kharif crop. Is nothing but the seasonal based crops. Cultivated plants are also subjected to the some of the ecological laws applied on the forest and the green grasslands. Some laws are affected applied on that particular forest and the grasslands, as such as a large number of varieties, larger number of varieties and the races have been developed to suit the different climates, soil, and the biotic factors, and also resist the various pests and the diseases. Okay. So in the Rabi season and Kharif season, these types of the crops have the capacity to resist the diseases, to resist the climate, to resist the what are the varieties and the phases, and what are the things which are present in and around the particular crop. Okay. In days of a primitive agriculture, in the days of the starting days of agriculture, a suitable land was cultivated for the many years with the same crop. So, for example, for 1 acre of land is cultivated paddy for 15 to 20 years. At that time the farmers did not realize that if the yield is cultivated with the same crop for several years continuously, the soil gets gradually depleted the mineral nutrient and become the infertile. What will happen when we are going to continue the particular cropping in that particular land is nothing but what are the mineral capacity and what is the nutrient capacity of the particular soil will be decreases. That is nothing but that a crop rotations. Crop rotation is nothing but we have to jumble the crops. We have to planted the some maybe some leguminous plants. Some like for example, red gram, green gram, black gram. So all these grams are the belongs to a leguminous family. When we are going to plant this in between that particular cotton pad cotton fields, then what will happen, the leguminous plants have the capacity to hold the nitrogen, and it can increase the soil health. So that's why crop rotations are the most important uh, step for the agriculture to restore the capacity of the soil and health of the soil. Okay, then the farmers are used and moved to the new areas. The forests are cleared. The shifting cultivation, how the shifting cultivation is started means, for example, 10 to 15 years, when particular land they are going to yield that paddy, the capacity of the land will be decreases due to the continuous yielding of the paddy. They thought that the soil health and the soil fertility will be decreases. Then they are going move. Then they are going to in the another place, they are going to the another place and they have to clear the forest, and they then create that own agricultural land for that fertile land. for cropping of the new crops. Okay, although all those these practices have the good yield initially, but later it gave the place to the soil erosion. Again, it may up to 5 to 6 years. The particular land can give the good yield. After 5 to 6 years, the gradually the yielding capacity of the particular land will be decreased due to the non-availability of abundant land, and the modern agricultural techniques are emerged. Due to a continuous cultivation of the same land for the long time, the natural fertility of the soil decreases. Thousand acres of the land become the infertile. Already we discussed that, discussed in the earlier, just starting of this class. Nearly 25 million hectares of the barren land will be there in the world, means infertile land, and the water tables have gone down to the levels, posing a serious problem in the dry periods. Okay, these are the things. And about the one for the up to here we discussed in this class, just we have to revise what we are discussed. Okay, coming to the already we completed the chapter unit 10 with the soil pollution. What are the objectives and what are the types of the pollution, how can we control, and all those things we discussed in that. Then coming to that next one is the applied geology, sorry, applied ecology. In this applied ecology we discussed that the objectives what we are what we are going to explain in this chapter. These are the main 9 objectives. Already I said. Then introduction is also completed. Then resources and their conservation and their management. These are also a completed. Coming to the next one is the agriculture. How that agriculture will be developed and what are the formal practices of our forefathers. How that things will be happen, already we discussed. Then we continue in that agriculture only. About 142 million hectares are the under cultivation irrigated land of the 40 million hectares, okay, in the country. So 142 million hectares under the cultivation in our country according to that present norms. Of late, there has been improved in the crop productivity due to the practice of a modern agriculture. For example, the rice production increased from 25 millions to 59 billions. So 25 billions of rice, the production of the rice is in the year of the 1954 to 55. It is 25 billions only. It rise up to 59 billion tons by 1984 to 1985. Okay. Continuously the yield for the hectare also increased for 820 kg to 1425 kg per hectare. Okay, this is all about class today. What are the remaining topics which are left in this chapter we will discuss tomorrow. Thank you all.